Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Zonk, and today we're going to smoke a beef brisket. Welcome to my video. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to show you step by step on how we're going to smoke a brisket, and hopefully you'll give it a try. Enjoy. Okay, it's the night before a big smoke of our brisket. We're going to smoke our brisket tomorrow morning on our Kamado Joe. We love our Kamado Joe for smoking, cooking steaks, and that kind of stuff. It's a ceramic cooker. Nice. We can vary the temperature with the vents on the top here and the vents down below. We can get a rock solid reading on the temperature with these vents in the Kamado. It's an airtight unit, so we can really get that temperature exactly where we want it, and it stays there. I've cleaned out the Kamado. What I did is I vacuumed all the ash out. I like to clean it out before we do a nice long smoke. And what we're going to be doing, since we're cooking so long tomorrow, we're going to be using the lump charcoal, which is a larger pieces of charcoal, and we get a nice long, even burn out of that. We get a lot of air through the cooker, and we can keep that temperature very, very accurate. For smoking, I like to use the hickory wood to smoke the brisket. It gives me a flavor that I like. So what we'll do is we'll soak this hickory wood in some water, and then we'll throw it on during the cook tomorrow a couple times just to get the smoke. We'll probably smoke really heavily early on, and then we'll let the meat cook later. You don't want to smoke too much because you may risk turning the meat into have a bitter taste to it and whatnot. So we'll just smoke in the beginning, get a nice good smoke ring on the meat, and then we'll let the meat cook in the cooker. We have our Kamado here in our little smokehouse we built here to keep it the Kamado out of the weather, so we don't have to worry since it is such a long cook. You know, we risk maybe rain in the afternoon or something. So being under cover here, we don't have to worry about that. Everything's nice and dry, and the temperature stays very accurate through the cook for us. So that's it with the Kamado. Looks like we're all set to go, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, well, we have our Kamado Joe ready outside to start smoking. Everything's cleaned up, ready to go with that. Now the next step is to get our brisket ready. Earlier in the video I said we'd probably be smoking about 12 to 14 hours. This brisket here is a little bit smaller, so we're going to come in a little bit less than that. So we have our brisket here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start to open this thing up. Get this open. What you'll notice is as I get this out, you'll notice here there's some fat on the brisket. There's also some a fat cap on the back here. This is called a flat cut brisket. It's just a portion of the meat that they cut. It's called the flat cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim some of this, just some of this fat off. I'm not going to trim off the fat cap. We're going to leave that on there. But we'll get off some of this just on the top here. Allows the smoke to penetrate a little bit better. We'll leave a little bit on there to render down and give it some flavor. Okay, just take a little bit off here. Not going to get fancy. All right, just clean this up a little bit. We're going to leave all this on here. This is the fat cap. It's a pretty thick piece right here. I like to take this corner down just a little bit so we don't have too much to render. We want a lot of this on there though to render down. What we're going to do, we're going to take our rub here. What this rub is basically 50% brown sugar, 25% granular white salt, and 25% ground black pepper. If you want measurements here, I did 1 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of salt, half a cup of pepper. So I have this all nice and mixed up. And we're going to take this and we're going to rub it all over our brisket. Coat it really good, nice and thick. That brown sugar is going to give a nice coating on that. The black pepper will give it a good taste also. Okay, so we're going to rub this all on, cover every part. I actually cover the fat cap too, not that it matters, but since we're covering the top, we might as well cover everything. Okay, rub it on there. We're doing this the night before, so this can all sit and the flavor can sink in there a little bit and adhere to the meat. And Then when we smoke it in the morning, everything's nice and stuck to it. Tomorrow morning when we get ready to start smoking, we'll probably get this out about a half hour to an hour before we're ready to start smoking. So basically, as we're getting the smoker ready, we'll get this out and let it warm up a little bit. You don't want to put it on the smoker ice cold just out of the fridge, so it takes too long to warm up and get going. So at least it'll be a little bit closer to room temperature, and then we can start smoking. So that looks pretty good. What we're going to do is we're going to put this in the fridge overnight, and we're going to get everything ready to go, get the smoker going in the morning. We'll put the meat on, and we'll see you in the morning. All right, it's the morning of the big smoke. We got our brisket ready. We got all our stuff ready here to put on the Kamado Joe. What we're going to do is we're just going to get started here. Kamado's getting up to temp, so what I like to do is get started a little bit early. So we're going to throw in our hickory chips first. Spread those around. We can get a little smoke starting. Now we soak these chips overnight in water to get those ready. Gonna put our heat deflector plate in because we're smoking with an indirect heat. We're not right over the fire, so everything's indirect. What I'm gonna do is add a drip pan in here with some water, so we can keep everything nice and moist inside the Kamado. This is warm water, just so we don't have to warm it all up, putting ice cold water into the smoker. Okay, we got our water here. We got some smoke starting. We're going to grab our grill. We're going to put our grate on here. Okay. Take a quick brush just to brush any loose debris off here. Okay. And then we'll put our brisket on. Grab a glove. Put our brisket on here. We're going to put the fat cap side down. Just my preference. Some people put it up. I put it down. I like the taste better with it down. Now, like I said earlier, I don't really go too much on the thermostat on the Kamado. What I do is I have this handy dandy thermostat. Take a separate one. You can go around the yard doing your yard work. You can go into the house with it, and you don't have to constantly monitor the grill. So this probe here, we'll put it right next to the meat so we can get the temperature right at meat level. And then this probe here will just stick into the brisket. We don't really have to at this point. It's kind of early, but we'll do that anyway. Then we don't have to open up the grill later to do that. Okay? So that's pretty much the setup. Why don't we come in, take a close-up look at that. Grill temp's going to be about 250 to 275. Okay, we have our smoke chips in there starting smoking. We have a heat deflector plate. We have the drip pan. So any rendering is drip into the pan. There's water in the drip pan to keep everything nice and steamy and moist in there. We have our brisket with our temperature gauge and our handy dandy little portable thermometer. It's the greatest thing. And then we're going to close this up, and we'll see you in about 4 hours. Okay, it's been about 4.5 hours with our brisket on the smoker, and our internal temperature is coming up to just over 180 degrees. Ideally, we'd like to see 200. I sometimes go 205, just because I like the brisket a little more tender, a little more fall apart, if you will. Some of the people like it with a little springiness. I like it when it falls apart. So if you like it springier, go down on the lower end, 200, 195. I go up a little bit over 200. So our brisket's been smoking for, like I said, 4.5 hours. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this thing out, and we're gonna wrap it. So what I'm gonna do is disconnect the temperature gauge here. I'm gonna grab the brisket out. Looks good, nice and barky. Put it on some foil. And with that, we're gonna start wrapping it. Turn the temperature probe up. Start wrapping it with foil. Okay. And then something I like to do, we're going to add a little jus to it. We've warmed it up. Basically, it's beef broth. 1 can of beef broth. We're going to add that in here. And we'll see. We'll add most of it. Most of it in. Maybe we'll save a little bit and add a little bit later. Put another little bit in here. Okay. Then I'm going to wrap it in foil. Nice and gently so we don't make a hole in the foil. And to be safe, I just actually do 2 rows of foil. So we have our 2 rows of foil. Seal that up so it steams nice and good in there with the au jus. And pull the plug out. Put this back on. We'll plug it back in, make sure we're working, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cook this till about our internal temperature is about 205, 200 to 205. Probably going to go a few more hours. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to keep the Kamado temperature about 250, 275. So, all right, well, we'll let this go. And we'll be back when this is done. All right, well, our brisket reached its target temperature of 200 to 205 degrees internal. We did hit the ever-dreaded stall at about 176 degrees. That's where the internal temperature of the meat kind of stalls out, and it takes a while to get up to temp. But just work through that stall. And everything will be all right. So when we hit our temperature, what we did is we took the brisket off. We left it all wrapped in foil. We took it off and wrapped it in a couple of towels here, and it's been sitting for about 2 hours resting. So what we're going to do is we're going to open that up now. Open this, take these towels off. Still really warm in here. Okay, it's almost so hot here you can't touch it. I'm going to open up our foil. Our au jus is still in here. And there we have a beautiful brisket. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to drain it a little bit. We'll save that sauce because we'll dip in there. All right. Have our beautiful brisket here. I'm going to take a couple slices and we'll give it a try. Okay, we have a nice smoke ring in there. Okay. Looks good, slice is good, nice and tender. Take a couple pieces. Chop up some samples here. Like I said, I like it a little more crumbly than most. If you don't like it as crumbly, you can always cut back a little bit. And cut back on the temperature. All right, this is a chance where we all get to try it. Everybody come on over and try a piece. And tell me what you think of our beef brisket.
Delicious. I can taste the smoke.
Taste the smoke, perfectly flavored. All right, keep watching. We're going to put some more videos on. We hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a try. Let us know if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.